Hi, everyone. And for the start of 2022, I am absolutely gobsmacked to be joined by a very good friend, Jason Coleman. Jason is, I've got to read this, I'm afraid, Jason, the Training and Competence Manager at Guardian Financial Services. Is that right?
That is absolutely correct, yep.
Which makes you, I think, the supremo in HR in the company. And you've deliberately used the word competence because you know it's a word I hate. So thanks for that. However, Jason is a very, very inspiring man. He's very inspiring with his words. He's very inspiring with his thoughts, but he's most inspiring with his actions. And rather than me share with you Jason's story, Jason, would you start by saying a little bit about yourself? And then please carry on and tell your story because it's a very inspiring one. Over to you, Jason.
Thank you, David. I think it's probably best to start off when you and I first met in 2010. So you'd come in to talk about some work that you'd been doing under the guise of the Naked Leader and the Naked Coach. You'd been on television, and we'd seen you there, and you helped us implement the guaranteed formula for success at my employer at that time. And I think the key thing that kind of really struck me, not until a few years later, was this guaranteed formula for success. And I've applied it over the past 10 years or so. And I have been successful. Some of the things that I've done, I've delivered stand-up comedy to over 500 people. I started running from couch to 5K and completed that within 3 weeks, and then went on to do my first 10K within 3 months. I've managed to lose, at this point in time, 5.5 stone, and I'm more or less teetotal these days. So, and I've just applied the guaranteed formula for success, and I've always championed it because I believe in it. I think it's a fantastic formula. It's based around a GROW model. For those of you that are familiar with coaching, it's goal, reality, options, and will. But I think the thing that stands out for me using the guaranteed formula for success is that it is so simple. It is so simple, and it's about application. For those of you that don't know, the guaranteed formula for success starts with knowing where you want to go. And for me, that was always, I guess, a stumbling block. At every point in my life prior to kind of implementing the guaranteed formula for success, I'd failed because I wasn't really clear on what it was that I wanted to achieve. And I'd always focus on the negative aspects. I didn't want to be overweight. I didn't want to, have a BMI of 42. I didn't want to be leaving the pub at 1 o'clock on a Saturday morning. And just this gentle shift towards the guaranteed formula for success just helped me transform who I am. And I know that might sound kind of really grandiose, but it's been huge in helping me change my life for the better. And I can't thank David enough for that, for kind of sharing. It's really straightforward and very simple and easy to implement process. And I think where a lot of people fall over when they're trying to make long-lasting, sustainable change is that they focus on where they are now rather than where they want to be. And whenever I'm coaching now, I will always use the guaranteed formula for success, and I will talk about the guaranteed formula for success. I've eschewed the kind of GROW model. I think this talks to people in a language that they understand and they use frequently. And the number of conversations that I have about, let's define what good looks like first. What is your measure of success? And one of my measures of success was to get below 15 stone. And I am. I'm kind of 14 stone 7. I weighed myself this morning. But things like not being as heavy, not helpful, having a smaller waist. Well, how smaller do you want your waist to be? And I think getting real about what it was that I wanted and actually writing it down in a book helped me massively. The next step in the guaranteed formula for success is knowing where you are now, and that's really, really painful. You need to engage with people that will support you, be honest with you, be critical, be supportive. Because, and I remember when I first got diagnosed with diabetes, and I went along and I saw the practice nurse, and I said, "I'm not that fat," and she said, "You are. You've got a body mass index of 43," and that's brutal to kind of hear that at the age of 37, 38. So I've always, have been surrounded by people who've been honest with me, and have given me really kind of clear feedback. And I think that's why, I've been able to kind of implement these changes, because it's very easy to kind of sit here and go, I haven't got a problem. It doesn't impact anybody else. My behavior, my eating habits, whatever, it doesn't impact anybody else, but it does. So being really honest about where you are now really, really helps. I think the next stage was, be clear on what it is that you need to do. It's all, the guaranteed formula for success is about action. And for me, everything that I've done and I have accomplished in the past 10 years or so has because I've taken action. I've not talked about it. I've not wished for it. I've just got off my backside and done it. So, delivering stand-up comedy to 500 people. Most people say that speaking in public is probably their biggest fear. Well, for me, all speaking I do is in public, apart from the conversations I have with myself. But taking action, I found a local workshop that specialised in stand-up comedy. I attended for 5 weeks. On my 6th week, I was scheduled to do an 8-minute set in front of a paying audience. I ended up doing 15 minutes in front of 90 people for my first gig. And kind of, this whole people were like, yeah, you're really funny and you've got a great sense of humour. And I thought to myself, I wonder if I can do that professionally or semi-professionally. So I found out, a local comedy workshop. I went along, I paid my money, I practiced. And to deliver that 15-minute set, I practiced for an hour a day for 5 weeks. That's 35 hours to do a 15-minute set. So that's going over it sort of 140 times. It's ridiculous. But it's about action. It's about doing it every day. I would do that set as often as I would brush my teeth. So for me, it's about action. Losing weight, I didn't put all this weight on in one go. Therefore, I wasn't going to lose it in, a matter of weeks. I took the time to speak to professionals. I took time to speak to my diabetic nurse. I took the time to go to the Desmond program to understand how my diet and exercise influenced my weight and my blood sugar. I went through a whole round of different medication, but I spoke to healthcare professionals which knew what was best for me, and that was about taking action. And I attend every diabetic clinic that I am invited to. I go have my eyes tested, I have my blood sugar tested, and again, it's about taking action. I wouldn't advocate this approach because it doesn't work for everybody, but I weigh myself every single day. As soon as I get up, I weigh myself every single day because that's the measure. For me, that's taking action. And it helps me keep on track. Couch to 10K, I did that about 4 years ago. And I'm one of these people, I was really skinny as a kid and probably surprised quite a few people. But I got to a point when I'd gained so much weight, I got type 2 diabetes, and my activity levels were pretty poor. So I engaged with a pal who'd done the couch to 5K. And I remember my very, very first run. It was a Saturday morning in March, and it was really horrible, misty, wet weather. The Scots have a word for it. It's called dreich, and it's just a really fine, horrible rain. And I got out of bed and I put my kit on. My wife was still in bed at the point. She said, "Look, you don't have to go if you don't want to." But me being me, with the guaranteed formula for success, it's about action. Do the things that take you closer to your goal, which you have to define in the first place, and stop doing the things that take you further away. So there was no, you don't have to do it if you don't have to, because I've committed to it. And for those of you that have done the Couch 5K, it's brilliant. And the kind of first step that I had with my running buddy was, can you run 8 times for a minute, punctuated by a 1.5 minute break? And I'm like, of course I can. You know, that's a clear outcome. Did that. And then I rattled through it to a point that I'd done my 5K at a park run. I didn't tell anybody about it. I didn't publicize it on social media. And I think that's one of the things that's really important for me, is that it's about sharing your success when you've attained it. I didn't want the plaudits along the way just for kind of having a go. I wanted to achieve it. So I think the guaranteed formula for success has transformed me as a human being. I know that might sound really profound, and some people might go, "What?" But let me recap. I was 20 stone, 2 pounds. I had a body mass index of 42. I couldn't walk without getting out of breath. Never done any stand-up comedy. I'd just been made redundant from my job after 25 years. So these 4 steps really, really work. And whenever I coach in Guardian or with anybody else, I always use the guaranteed formula for success as my starting point. So hopefully that's kind of given you a little bit of background about why I am so enthused about, you know, the 4-step program. It's really, really straightforward.
Thank you, Jason. And very moving. What we'll do is we'll do a quick fire round. Is that okay now?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so you and I, when we're speaking, sometimes talk about this stuff as if it's very simple, which it is, but simple is often not easy. So what did you do when you felt like giving up? Did you have any periods when you thought, sod this, I'm not going to carry on?
Almost daily. But I think the thing that helped me, and kind of the advice that, you know, we talked about, was do the things that take you closer to your goal. Do those, or do something else. Just don't do nothing. You know, and I know it's double negative, but don't just sit there and expect change to happen whilst doing nothing. And I think, you know, if you're doing something that takes you further away from your goal, then stop doing it. Just stop. You know, if you want to lose weight, then, you know, and you find yourself stuck into a cake or a fry up or whatever, eat it and then stop. Just stop and don't do it again. Forgive yourself and move on. But I think that for me, what works, David, is having that clearly defined outcome, what good looks like.
So some people adopt this sort of pleasure and pain principle. Did you ever adopt it?
Yeah, I did. I think when I thought about losing weight, I always buy my jeans from Levi's because I know I'm getting a consistent fit. But the horrible thing about wearing Levi's, if you wear them, is that they have the waist size and the inside leg measurement stamped on that kind of little tag at the back on the right hand side. And mine always used to say 38-30. And I'd always wear my shirts untucked. So kind of my first step was to kind of get down to 36. So that was kind of my, I guess that was my incentive. You know, that was, once I've done that, I'm going to put these 38s on eBay and I'm going to buy myself a new pair. This is 36-30. And the kind of point that I knew that I'd got there is that I could take them off without undoing them. And then you go, right, happy days. I'll then go and buy another pair. And then as my weight continued to go down, I would continue to buy more pairs. And I junked all of the clothing that was too big. You know, I was never going to hang on to clothes. You know, some people go, well, I'm going to hang on to my clothes until, you know, in case I kind of put weight back on. It was never an option. They all went in the charity bag.
Brilliant. A cynical person watching this might say, well, he's an intelligent guy. He's young. He's clearly successful in his role. He would have achieved that anyway. Where do you think you would have been, Jason? And again, you know, to be honest, tell the truth, you may well have achieved what you were going to achieve. But I suppose what I'm asking is, you know, if you had carried on as you were, where do you think you would be today?
I would be somewhere completely different. I think my health would have deteriorated further. I think my weight I probably would have bottomed out about 21, 22 stone. I'm 50 now, so I think that it would have been more difficult for me to make the changes. So I think making the changes incrementally have kind of worked. So it's not just this that's got me to this point. You know, I've had several little kind of mini projects along the way, you know, whether that's been stand-up comedy, whether that's taking better care of my mental well-being, whether that's losing weight, whether that's pursuing my career. I've had several plates spinning at the same time. And yet you kind of credit me with, you know, being intelligent, but I'm one of these kids that, you know, if I left school now with the GCSE results that I left with, I'd be considered a dunce. But I think the thing is that this whole guaranteed formula for success is straightforward.
They are Jason Coleman, even more humble than me. So I bet I've got less GCSEs than you have, but we won't go into that. So a final question for you, and it's a toughie, you didn't know it was coming, is for anyone watching this who's beginning of 2022, everyone thinks about New Year resolutions, everyone thinks about new outcomes and new dreams. What are the top 3 tips that you would give? And again, I emphasize, Jason did not know I was going to ask this. The top 3 tips you'd give to somebody watching this who has something they want to achieve in 2022 or even beyond.
Great question. I think firstly is I wouldn't wait until the 1st of January. If you're serious, you're committed, you're dedicated to making long-lasting change, the first thing I would do is start now, right now. Start. Don't wait another 2 or 3 days, because if you start now, you'll be 2 or 3 days ahead of yourself. I think the second thing is have that really clearly defined goal, because I think once you have that, and then you want to engage other people and get their support, because none of this I haven't done any of this on my own. I have had help from doctors, nurses, healthcare professional, friends, comedy geniuses. I've just had so much fun. But once you're clear on what it is that you want, you will find that so many people want to help you out and they want to get involved. And I think the third thing is that I can't keep it a little secret for a while. Because I know a number of people in the past that have gone, oh, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that, and then they don't, because they're getting the gratification. Oh, brilliant! You're going to be great. Blah blah blah. Just get on to it, and then once you've accomplished it, just clap for your damn self. That's something I've seen across social media, and you know what? It works. Engage with people that want to support you, that are on your team, that will hold you accountable. Okay. Most importantly, you asked for 3, I'm going to give you 4. Be accountable to yourself. Be accountable to yourself, because long-lasting change, it requires effort.
Wow, thank you. And an inspiration to me, an inspiration to everyone who knows you. But of course, you wouldn't take that on board, because I know, Jason, you have lots of other things you're going to achieve in 2022. Just a quick disclaimer. The formula for guaranteed success, by the way, is know where you want to go, know where you are now, know what you have to do to get to where you want to go, and then do it. However, Jason said it was very similar to the GROW model. To avoid legal action against Naked Leader, can I just say, anyone who thinks we stole this from the GROW model, we did not. We have stolen this from every model, every single model out there. It is a summary of why we do what we do. Oh, Jason, I mean, absolutely brilliant. Thank you ever so much for your time. And I hear there's a dog in the background. Now, the reason there's a dog is that in order to get to this interview, Jason only walked his dog a short distance. So that's the dog saying, please take me out. Jason, a real pleasure. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, David.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks a million.